Sorry to start this video with a rant, however this is very important to me. I'm 77 years old. I grew up an army brat. My family lived overseas for years, not a couple weeks in a foreign country, but years. From the time I was 5 until I was 8, I lived in Germany. We went there in 1952, just a few years after the war. Even as a child, I could see the ruins, the scars, the weight of what had happened. It shaped how I look at the world. Later, we moved to Puerto Rico. I didn't just pass through, I lived there for 3 years. I graduated 8th grade at the Academia Santa Maria in Ponce. I was fully immersed in the culture. I love Puerto Ricans. They are proud, passionate Americans, and I'll always carry that with me. I've lived in the Appalachian Mountains, a part of America with its own fierce pride and hardship. I've lived on the West Coast, the East Coast, the North, and the South. My father fought in World War II, and I fought in Vietnam. So when I say I have a clear picture of America, I mean it. I've seen its many faces. That's why it angers me and frightens me when someone claims only white Europeans are real Americans. My family's been here since Jamestown. But the truth is, America has always been more than one people. Indigenous nations were here long before any of us. Africans were forced here in chains. The Chinese built the railroads. Immigrants came from every corner of the earth, and together we built something bigger than ancestry. That's the America I love, and I won't let anyone erase it.
Indigenous America? Long before Europeans arrived, this land was home to diverse indigenous nations. The Cherokee in the southeast, the Lakota on the plains, the Navajo in the southwest, the Coast Salish in the northwest, the Haudenosaunee, the Iroquois Confederacy in the northeast, whose own Council of Nations inspired some of the ideas behind the U.S. Constitution. Scholars estimate tens of millions of people lived in the Americas before Europeans ever arrived. They farmed, traded, built cities, and carried wisdom passed down through generations. When Europeans came, they didn't find wilderness. They stepped into thriving civilizations. But instead of honoring that, newcomers began a cycle of domination, pushing people off their lands, breaking treaties, and calling the continent empty. The myth of emptiness, that the land was theirs for the taking, became the first American lie. And it set the stage for a struggle that has never ended. Inclusion versus exclusion. Belonging versus domination.
Enslavement and expansion. The next great migration to America was forced. Between the 1500s and 1800s, more than 12 million Africans were shipped across the Atlantic in chains. About 10 million survived the Middle Passage. Most went to the Caribbean and Brazil. Around 400,000 were brought directly to what became the United States. By 1860, the enslaved population in America had grown to nearly 4 million people. Their labor built the fields, the ports, and the wealth of a young nation. And still, the law said they didn't count. The very first Naturalization Act in 1790 declared citizenship for free white persons. That exclusion stayed on the books for more than 160 years. Slavery was not just an economic system. It was a system of domination, telling one group they were less than human, stripping them of voice and rights. America's wealth was built on the backs of people denied belonging, yet their descendants are as American as anyone else.
Who counts as American? From the very beginning, America was diverse, not just in race, but in faith. Thomas Paine, in Common Sense, wrote about that diversity. He saw that the colonies were filled with different religions and that no single church could ever claim the whole. At the time of the Constitution, only a small share of Americans fit into what we now call mainstream Christianity. The rest were a patchwork of sects, dissenters, skeptics, Jews, deists, and freethinkers. But instead of celebrating that diversity, leaders often drew boundaries. In 1790, the first Naturalization Act limited citizenship to free white persons. That law didn't just exclude by race. It signaled that only certain people were worthy of belonging. After the Civil War, the 14th Amendment declared a new truth. If you are born here, you are a citizen. In 1898, the Supreme Court affirmed it in United States v. Wong Kim Ark. Wong was born in San Francisco to Chinese parents. The court ruled he was as American as anyone else. Still, the struggle continued. Again and again, groups tried to dominate, to claim they alone defined what it means to be American.
Immigration waves and backlash. Between 1820 and 1920, more than 30 million people arrived in the United States. 12 million of them passed through Ellis Island. Germans, Irish, Italians, Poles, Jews, Slavs. Every wave added new threads to the American fabric. But every wave also faced backlash. The Irish were called drunks and criminals. Signs read, "No Irish need apply." Italians were branded as mobsters and anarchists. Catholics were accused of taking orders from the Pope. In 1882, the Chinese Exclusion Act banned an entire nationality from entering the United States. By 1924, Congress set quotas designed to freeze America's ethnic makeup at what it looked like in 1890, overwhelmingly Northern and Western European. During World War II, more than 100,000 Japanese Americans, two-thirds of them citizens, were imprisoned in camps, stripped of homes and businesses just because of their ancestry. These backlashes reveal a pattern. Each new group was first treated as a threat, then eventually embraced as part of the American story.
Civil rights and New America. For more than 160 years, American law said citizenship was for free white persons. That barrier finally fell in 1952 with the McCarran-Walter Act. Racial restrictions on naturalization were gone. The bigger change came in 1965. The Hart-Celler Immigration Act ended the old quota system that favored Northern and Western Europe. It opened the door to the rest of the world. That one law reshaped America. Immigration shifted, no longer mostly European. New arrivals came from Latin America, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. Today's diverse America is the direct result of those choices, to stop excluding and to start living up to the promise of liberty and opportunity. Modern numbers. Today, about 15% of the U.S. population was born somewhere else. That's more than 50 million Americans who first drew breath in another land. They are neighbors, coworkers, teachers, doctors, and small business owners. They serve in the armed forces. They pay taxes. They raise families. In 1890, the foreign-born share was nearly the same. America didn't collapse then. It grew. In 1970, after decades of restrictive laws, it dropped to less than 5%, the lowest point in U.S. history. After the 1965 reform, it climbed again. Today's diversity isn't an accident. It's the direct result of deliberate choices.
Attitudes then and now. Public opinion in America swings like a pendulum. In the 1850s, the Know Nothing Party rose on fear of Irish and German Catholics. In the 1920s, millions joined the Ku Klux Klan, targeting immigrants, Catholics, and Jews as un-American. By the 1940s, Americans were fighting alongside immigrant sons and daughters in World War II. Many white soldiers returned from World War II with a new respect for their black comrades. Fighting side by side in Europe and the Pacific, they saw courage, sacrifice, and patriotism that challenged old prejudices. The battlefield changed not only the course of the war, it began to change minds back home. By the 1980s, people were proudly claiming the hyphens: Italian American, Irish American, Polish American. Today, the pendulum is swinging toward hope. Gallup polls show it clearly. In 1993, 2/3 of Americans said immigration should be reduced. Today, nearly 80% say immigration is good for the country. Only about 30% want it cut back. And support for a path to citizenship, especially for children brought here young, is stronger than ever.
Fear and resistance. Fear still lives here. Even today, immigrants, including those with legal status, worry about being detained or deported. Surveys show more than 4 in 10 fear they or a family member could be taken away. America has seen this before. Deportation raids in the 1930s, Japanese internment in the 1940s, raids on workplaces in the 2000s. Each time, families were torn apart. But fear is not the whole story. Across this country, immigrants and allies march, strike, and speak out to say, "We belong here." That resistance is as American as the flag itself.
So when someone says only white Europeans are real Americans, I answer with this. From the very beginning, America has been a nation of many peoples, many cultures, many faiths. That's not our weakness, that's our strength. The battle between inclusion and domination has been with us from the very start, and the side we choose defines who we are. Being American isn't about ancestry. It isn't about race, or one religion, or one culture. Being American is about belonging together. The founders struggled to bring together a diverse group of states. What they ended up with was flawed, but was the foundation of a system of progress. As James Madison said, the Constitution should keep pace with the progress of the human mind. It's been a hard-fought battle, but we have made progress. And as long as I have breath, I will stand for that truth, because America's many faces are what make it one people. And remember the words on the base of the Statue of Liberty.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
Thanks for watching Hot LZ. If you value open discussion and real American voices, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And join the conversation at hotlz.com.